my condolences goes out to Kobe and his family. He passed away, or he died in a accident on his helicopter. May he rest in peace. So my condolences goes out to all of his family, and of course even his daughter.
I don't think we're good right now.
I think we live.
Yeah, because
just wait on it. Yeah.
Okay. Because it usually go to my commercial.
So that being said, my condolences goes out to his family. One thing for sure, tomorrow is not promised. So we have the blessing of being here today. So we thankful. So you want to say anything to that, Professor Nam?
Yeah, definitely. We definitely lost a legend in the field. Pardon me, we were trying to keep track of the live on. We lost a legend in the sport of basketball, Kobe Bryant. His even stuff that he did outside of the basketball realm is legendary. He was kind of seen as the next heir apparent to Michael Jordan. He's kind of in that, right? There's that Michael Jordan phase, and then, bit of a Kobe, and then it goes on to LeBron. And I want to give a shout out to my younger brother, Antoine Denson, who is really heartbroken. That's his favorite player in the world. Since he's been growing up, that's who he's been idolizing. I was wanted to kind of pay respects and commemoration for Kobe Bryant. I was looking, I realized how much purple I don't have in my in my wardrobe, but I had to go with the king-ish today with the African garb. Definitely want to give a shout out to the Laker Nation. We lost a real one yesterday, him and his daughter. So definitely Gigi. Rest in peace and keep them in your thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, one thing for sure, my brother, they call him my twin. His name is Shahab. It stands for shooting star. That's one of his favorite players. He was devastated by the news. I mean, obviously, Kobe he had the killer instinct of Mike.
Yeah.
He reminded people of Mike Jordan, the one and only, and Kobe's definitely a top 5, if not, a top 10 greatest basketball player of all time. That being said, one thing for sure, tomorrow is not promised. So the positive message that we could take out of this whole situation is that people die every day. Some people are born, some people get married. So people don't appreciate or are thankful enough for waking up and having the blessing of living another day. And you could make a positive change or a negative one. You know what I'm saying? Because people are materialistics, especially nowadays, social media era. You wake up, the first thing you see is IG, what you don't have instead of what you have. So instead of waking up, thanking God for waking up and seeing another day, you wake up wanting something else that you don't have instead of thanking God for everything that you have, because health is the main thing, So people are not thankful enough and don't appreciate Allah enough. But at the end of the day, we're thankful for being here on Split Decision another week. We had technical difficulties, more so on YouTube part. It was in our issue.
It was a server issue on the back end.
Yeah,
that's all we know.
We couldn't be here yesterday, but we are here today. So, of course, in the red corner, the one and only Akhi, Ak, whatever you want to call him. To my left, I don't even got to say nothing. It's just 3P,
3P.
Professor Nim.
The pundit with the PhD in pugilism, you know what it is, Professor Nims.
So let's cheer up before we start the show, of course. If you didn't know, Bismillah. The Akhi merch is out. Split Decision drip is out. Go cop it if you want to be dripped up like the Akhi be, like Professor Nim be. I thought I was fresh today because I'm rocking this Akhi drip till I saw Professor Nim. I had a second thought myself. I was like, man, Professor Nim, he's just too sharp. You know what I'm saying? I just can't beat him. So that being said,
that's how we do at Akhi University. Like we got a criteria for your drip. You know what I'm saying? You got to be saucy and everything. It's just like not being too pretentious, but if you look good, what do they say? You feel good.
And we definitely feeling good. Just the news of Kobe passing away kind of hurt me and distracted me, and I'm all over the place. And like I said, I'm devastated by the news, and I'm just thankful I'm here living another day. So it's up to y'all to make a positive change or a negative change. Like I said, if a wise man once told me, that if you have $1 billion in the bank, Professor Name, and you can't piss, you have to do or go through a surgery that costs $500 million. You're gonna pay every penny of that.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, if you don't have no water to drink, and they tell you, listen, ain't no more water around, you got to pay $500 million for you to drink the rest of your life. You best believe you're gonna pay every penny of that. So health is everything at the end of the day. So look at what you have. Family, happiness is more than money. Because money don't buy happiness or respect. But
yeah, and make sure you take care of yourself. Make sure that you working out. I'm the advisor for my university boxing club, so I get to work out with them. I'm keeping my cardio up. I'm on a new intermittent fasting kind of eating regimen. I cut out all of the beef, pork, and chicken and all that. But realize that health is truly wealth. We're not going to spend a long time on it because this is a boxing debate show, but we want to give a shout out to our Akhi brothers and sisters and make sure that you are taking care of yourself so that you can rock with us until the 2020 and beyond.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Health is everything. Health is wealth, like Professor Nim said. Now, diving into the topics.
Let's jump into it.
I mean, in boxing, we seen everything, haven't we? We seen air biting. We seen yesterday or Saturday night neck biting. Obviously, we seen even hand biting with Mayweather. Remember that?
Yeah, Madonna.
You know
Madonna,
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, Danny Garcia didn't make a commotion out of it. I was shocked that the referee didn't take off a point.
Yeah,
you know,
I said, yeah.
He kind of just ignored it. Now, from what Danny said, he said he might need stitches. So apparently, it showed. Obviously, he probably was over exaggerating, but at the end of the day, he did bit him, and you could see it.
Yeah.
If I was the referee, I would have at least took a point or two off. I mean, seen him do something like that. It threw Danny Garcia off. He thought this dude was psycho.
So it's a couple of things, and we have somebody was asking that this was Pito Frescobar, feeling that said, why didn't the referee take a point or two away? Because I argued that same point in there. I mean, this is a foul that's outside, and particularly something as egregious as biting your opponent. The only thing that I can say is I don't know if the referee saw it at that time. Right, so if he saw it, obviously you have to come in that's an infraction. But I think it came to his attention after Danny Garcia kind of said something about it, and then his father brought it up in the corner like, "Hey, the guy bit me." But I think that I asked you after that. I was like, "Do you think that there'll be some type of ramification from like one of the sanction bodies, like they might hold a piece of his purse or something?" I don't think that they should. I think once the bout is, it obviously didn't go to the extent of the Mike Tyson bite, but it was funny because Danny Garcia was like, after he bit him, he was like, "Mike Tyson."
Mike Tyson. Now, of course, it wasn't to that extent. I mean, Tyson really bit his ear off. You know. Throwback to Holyfield versus Tyson. That was one of the biggest heavyweight fights of all time. Yeah. And funny enough, I think we like 4 weeks away to Wilder versus Fury rematch. And that's a mega fight in the heavyweight division. So I guess RedKatch was just preparing us for that. I don't know if he meant harm by it. I think he just wanted to have his Mike Tyson moment. But it threw Danny Garcia off. Now, you said maybe the referee wasn't aware, and I definitely, could see that. But at the same time, I don't know, because Danny looked at him like, what? He bit me, and he screamed Mike Tyson to him. It ain't like he whispered it. Yeah. I thought he whispered it at first. Now he screamed Mike Tyson to him. So, I mean, he really felt like Mike Tyson because in the corner, remember? His dad told Danny Garcia, like, man, you better finish him on some Mortal Kombat-ish.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You better put respect on your name. Don't let him have his Mike Tyson moment when he's supposed to be a tune-up. When this is his second fight at welterweight, I believe. Mm-hmm. And Danny went for the kill because he hurt RedKatch every time he landed. But as soon as he tried to go for the kill, he got caught with an uppercut. And like you said, everybody got a game plan until they get hit with that Mike Tyson thing. So at the end of the day, Danny Garcia, that was a learning lesson for him and Swift because they both had a tune-up fight, but you gotta put the icing on the cake, which is take your opponent out. I understand, you learn a thing or two every time you step in the ring, and that's the main thing and the main objective in boxing, especially when you're preparing for a big fight. However, you have to put the icing on the cake and finish him on some moral comeback, especially when you have an opponent like RedKatch, where every time you hit him, you really hurt him. So
I mean, both of their opponents, so for Hurd, I thought he looked even less impressive than Danny, even though he did get the knockdown in the 10th round against his opponent. But these, to me, were basically some high-priced sparring sessions that I saw. And in boxing, one of the things that draws everybody to boxing, not just the casual fan, but the aficionados, the pundits, the historian, is boxing is the ultimate in dramatic sports, right? Because anything could happen, and particularly you could change the tone of a fight based off one punch. And we've seen it happen, right? George Foreman was getting clearly outboxed against Michael Moore, and one punch. I mean, it was a couple of punches before that set him, but really one punch set him down, and it changed the history from that point. But these were just some overblown sparring sessions. I thought Hurd was basically had some people come watch him fight, and he just was like, I'm gonna just take my time, do a sparring session. And then at one point he was like, all right, let me go ahead and put my foot, like put my foot on the gas and take him out. But at that time it was too late. It wasn't a championship fight, so it was only 10 rounds. And it's like, fine, I see that you're working out your new style and doing all that, but still, give these people what they came for. Danny wasn't much better because it seemed like like you said, every time he touched RedKatch, it shook him. RedKatch seemed really frail for that weight class to me. Just his body, just his shoulders, just his bone structure. And we were also looking. He has a loss to Tevin Farmer, so this is not a natural 147 fighter.
He put Tevin Farmer on the map. Like people, exactly. That's when Tevin Farmer was getting better. And first of all, shout out to Brooklyn in the in the chat. Obviously, if you have any comments or any question,
super chat
that you want us to answer, just throw a super chat. It could be even for 1 penny. We're gonna answer it. We're gonna throw the number in there so y'all could call in as well and tune in with us. But I guess Danny Garcia found out that it's not so easy to knock out your opponent, because remember, he was criticizing my man Errol Spence, saying you couldn't knock out a lightweight. And we know, I mean, of course, Mikey Garcia is one of the best pound for pound fighters in the game, especially when Errol Spence fought him. And he was saying, if I fought him, I would have knocked him out. But based on this performance, I don't see him knocking out Mikey Garcia. Not saying he can't beat Mikey. I'm just saying I don't see him knocking out Mikey, because Mikey has a chin. Mikey is a counterpuncher, and he's 10 times better than a RedKatch. So if you couldn't stop a RedKatch, who every time you hit him, he was stunned or hurt or wobbly, how you expect to stop a Mikey Garcia? So things aren't as easy as it looked from the outside looking in. Obviously, Mikey Garcia was the one that turned down the fight and went the Jesse Vargas route. It wasn't Danny Garcia, but that's just foods for thoughts out there, because he was critiquing Errol Spence, saying, you could have finished, of course, a lightweight. I would have knocked him out. But we see you against RedKatch, who was a lightweight, right? He fought Tevin Farmer and moved up, and he couldn't finish him in a showcase fight for Errol Spence or my man
Hurd. But we also want to be fair that his fight prior to this one was at 147, and one of the reasons why it made it even something that was palatable was the fact that in RedKatch's previous fight, he stopped Devin Alexander. But Devin Alexander was a shot version of him, but it was at 147, and he did stop him. So
so go ahead.
We want to give him credit.
Hit the bell. Now, of course, Terrence Crawford came out, and he had the sleepy emojis, saying the fight was a little boring. And of course, Terrence won the smoke. Now, Danny Garcia, before the fight, he said that he the A-side. He said that the ball is in his court. So that being said, after the fight, he said they're going to put him higher on the rankings for the WBO and make him seem like he ducking Terrence Crawford. Now, I don't see how that's a bad thing for them to put you higher on the rankings because we do want to see that fight. So what do you think about a potential matchup between the two? I mean, Crawford saying he wasn't too impressed with Danny Garcia's performance. And what's your thought on that fight? Because I just want to mention this real quick because I found it interesting what Dante said. He said that Danny Garcia basically, he kind of step up to the level of his opposition. So if you're fighting a better fighter, he will perform better. He will step up when the time is right. Now, what you think about? He also
lowers his
standards as well when he fighting somebody like RedKatch. So first of all, what you think about that comment in particular about Dante and a potential fight between Crawford and Danny Garcia and Danny Garcia past statements?
Yeah, so I'll start with the Dante reference and then go into the actual matchup between Crawford and Garcia. So I think that's true. I think that's true of a lot of fighters. It's just when you have a big matchup and you just get motivated for that. And then one of the greatest motivators is fear, right? So when you have an opponent that you know could possibly sleep you or is at the top of the game, then you're gonna make sure that you don't miss any workouts, that you're getting up, you're running, you're doing 2 a days, you're doing 3 a days, you got your diet on point because you know that there's this disaster that may be waiting for you if you don't. Well, don't do that. Don't fire that off. Let me hold that for you while you do
the
that.
Strap.
The strap.
I'm sorry for cutting you off.
With that said, I think that Garcia is going to try everything in his power to stay away from Crawford. I think Crawford washes him. I can't say stop because I don't think Danny's even been dropped before. Even with, I'm trying to go back.
Danny has one of the best chins.
He has a good chin, but I still think that Crawford takes it to him. But it will be interesting because we know that Crawford does get hit. But to me, it doesn't seem like Danny wants that fight. I mean, so he obviously called out Pacquiao and Errol Spence, and ostensibly the RedKatch fight was basically let me show you how I look against a good left-hander, and then just kind of work on some certain things. The straight right, of course, is the best punch. I think the combo was straight right, left hand. And of course, we know Danny Garcia packs a lot of a lot of power in his left hook. But those fights are, I think everybody wants those fights. You're talking about, if you go ask any welterweight, because a lot of them are with PBC, so that might, I'm not saying that they're avoiding Terrence Crawford, but his name doesn't get brought up a lot. But mostly, if you talk to Sean Porter, oh man, it's just Errol Spence or Manny Pacquiao. If you talk to Danny Garcia, oh, Errol Spence or like Danny Pacquiao. Even like Mikey Garcia, he already fought Spence, so now it's like, well, I want Pacquiao. Like those are the two people that people want to fight. So of course, those are the names that are going to call out.
But Crawford should be one of those guys too, because Crawford is the man. You know what I'm saying? Crawford is pound for pound number one. Obviously, when Floyd Mayweather was pound for pound number one, everybody was gunning for him for different reasons, because he was the money man of the division and of boxing, period. But the main point is, people should want Crawford position, and that's just not even his strap, just his position of being pound for pound number one, a top pound for pound, even top three. You know what I'm saying? So that being said, I think Danny's not too interested in Crawford because of stylistically, it doesn't favor him. Now, Danny Garcia, outside looking in, you think he basic, you think he's not that effective, but he is. He do things right. He do the basics things right. It works for him. He has good attributes like, good chin. Matter of fact, great chin, good power, good speed, great boxing IQ, good counterpuncher. So he brings a lot of that to the table. But against Crawford, he's an elite level fighter. Yeah. That makes all of that just look like, seem normal to him. You know what I'm saying? So Crawford has the hand speed advantage, the IQ advantage, figuring you out advantage. Now he gonna get hit, but he gonna definitely be hitting Danny Garcia way more than he receiving. So he gonna be giving it to Danny more than he taking it. That's just my opinion on the whole matter.
I think that he would outclass Danny Garcia. I mean, it'll be a good look for Terrence Crawford. It'll just kind of silence. I don't know if there's a lot of critics out, but a lot of people, and I might be part of them, say that he hasn't really had a quality win at 147. Jeff Horn, notwithstanding Jeff Horn, but I think it'll be a good look. And if he stops Danny Garcia, I mean that'll put the welterweight division on notice.
Who stops Danny Garcia?
If Crawford stops, I mean I don't think he'll get that fight. But
the only way you could stop Danny Garcia is to the body. Danny is so good that with his chin and the fact that he has good defense and always in position to counter, it's hard to, basically, put a hurting on him and take him out.
Yeah.
But one thing for sure, Danny Garcia is a little vulnerable to the body. It seemed that he kind of he a little vulnerable to the body. So that's the way to go if you're planning on stopping Danny Garcia. So the best bet is Errol Spence. So on to the next round.
Well, so let before I ding it, usually don't do this, but if it's some good comments, because we do want to respect the super chat. But Pito Frescobar talked about Bud footwork is superb to Danny's, which is obviously true. And Leonard Thomas thinks that his power is overrated. I think that's a debate. I think that's debatable at
who said that the footwork?
Pito Frescobar.
Yeah, well, that's a great point. I just want to talk about that a little bit. As far as the footwork, you got to keep in mind that Danny's stuck in the mud.
He's stuck in the mud.
If you circle him, he has to always, move his front foot, So that's one thing that doesn't benefit Danny. Danny, if he had footwork, he'd be one of the best in the game. I'm talking about the elite level. He already one of the best in the game, but I'm talking about the elite level today. So that being said, against the Crawford,
he's a bit of a Frankenstein,
against Crawford, that's gonna hurt him because I remember when he was fighting RedKatch, he will throw a right hand and switch to a southpaw, and it kind of gave me it's like a reminiscence of Floyd Mayweather. Right, remember when Floyd Mayweather would switch to southpaw against Zab after throwing the right hand just to kind of for defense and then come back with a left hook. Danny would not follow up with a left hook, and it's against the RedKatch. So you would think even if you get countered, it's okay because it's a RedKatch, but he still didn't let that left hook go. I'm not too sure what he was seeing. I felt like the left hook was there.
I just think his footwork doesn't allow him to able to
even
do
footwork,
that.
Footwork-wise, he was.
Your footwork, I don't, because what he would do is he would throw the right and kind of step and then kind of follow up, so it'd be this kind of double. But
he should have come back with a hook.
Yeah, but he's kind of out of position from there, depending on RedKatch, and you have to have very intricate footwork to do that. And then plus, I told you when he was doing that, he was straight up. Right, so when Floyd was doing that against Zab,
he would duck down.
He would kind of hit, and then he would fall to the side because he would get. When Danny Garcia was doing that, he was straight up. And remember, I said that during the fight. I was like, if he does that against an elite fighter, he's gonna get clocked because he's standing straight up. So all of this is exposed.
Yes, sir. So call in. I just dropped the number. All the people that want to debate, call in, and for the people in the super chat. If y'all got any questions, just drop a super chat and we definitely talk about it. Now, on to the next topic, or the next round, I should say, Danny Garcia versus Pacquiao. How you see that fight playing? Now, is Manny Pacquiao picking up the phone calling Al Heyman, telling Al Heyman, I like what I see in Danny, I want Danny next? Or is he going to stick with Errol Spence? Based on what I saw, I think Pac-Man might make the call to fight Danny. What you think?
I think so. I think that call is. I think that's something that's always been on his speed dial. That Danny Garcia number, to go ahead and make that call. I think that with Pacquiao, even though Pacquiao doesn't fight on his toes as much, he still has good in and out, and as we saw against Thurman, so he can still do that. And with Danny, he has a slow plodding style. and I just see him kind of swinging at air a lot. So I remember a fight where, well, we kind of talked about it a little bit. Remember when he fought Eric Morales? And this was like an old kind of like 140 Eric Morales who really made his, saying kind of cut his tooth at 126.
But he was on that forbidden fruit.
Yeah, he may have been, but at the same time,
he wasn't the same though.
I just remember him making. Remember that first fight? I remember him making Danny Garcia miss a lot. Now the second fight, he wrecked him, But like that first fight, I remember Eric Morales making him miss a lot. So if
he was making Danny look silly.
Yeah, he was making him. So I think Pacquiao could do a lot, and then could really like circle, and then I could just see. I could see Danny getting outboxed by a 40-something-year-old Pacquiao.
Yeah, Morales was marking and making fun of Danny Garcia during that fight. I mean, for a 40-year-old, I don't know how old is he in particular, but he was out of his weight division. Of course, he was fighting at 140, a weight division he didn't belong in. But at that time, Danny was just developing his confidence. And like,
he was an upstart.
Yeah, so... And Dante always say, he'd be stepping up to the level of his opposition for some reason. Now, in my opinion, Manny Pacquiao, how he looked against Keith Thurman, if he bring that same Manny Pacquiao, I will favor him. Yeah. And I know some people might be shocked, but you got to keep in mind, Manny footwork is superior compared to a Danny. Like, he will dance circles around him. He already has the faster hands. He already has power. That's the last thing you're gonna lose. And then he got footwork on top of that. Man, he gonna be dancing around Danny Garcia. I mean, it's gonna look like he's dancing with the stars instead of fighting Danny Garcia. Yeah. I mean, he gonna look like he the Swift, because I remember when he fought Oscar De La Hoya. What Oscar was really shocked at, it was just how quick Manny Pacquiao was. Of course, hand speed wise, but not the hand speed. It was the quickness of his body, the way he get from one position to the other. I always say people get confused between smart footwork, intelligent footwork, and just athleticism with footwork. Manny has that crazy athleticism with footwork. Floyd, for example, on the other hand, he had that IQ footwork, but at the same time, he had smart footwork and gifted footwork. Manny has the gifted footwork. Sometimes he don't make the wisest decisions, but he just could get away with it because he's so athletic. But like I said, with Danny Garcia, the guy who's stuck in the mud, he's just going to be dancing circles around him. So that's why I said, if I'm Manny Pacquiao and I saw that, and I see Errol Spence being vulnerable, of course, after the car crash. On the other hand, Danny, the way he looked, he might be beatable, or at least is favorable to Pacquiao style. I think, in my opinion, Manny Pacquiao will take the route of Danny because he likes what he sees. Because if Errol Spence still the truth and he still come back the same, man, you don't want to end up like, what Keith Thurman told him he was going to do. Retire him, crucify him, because that's what Errol would do to a Manny Pacquiao if he's the same. I'm not trying to make excuses if they fight and Errol loses, but I'm just saying, if he the same, I just don't see Manny Pacquiao wanting any of that smoke, because he didn't want none of that smoke prior.
Yeah,
but
I don't think anybody in Manny Pacquiao's team would a healthy, young, strong Errol Spence.
But so based on that, you saying he will pick Danny?
I think he will pick Danny. I think there's a lot of unknowns right now with Errol Spence, and I think that Manny Pacquiao's thinking about, you know what, I could get in 2 paydays, almost guaranteed. Not guaranteed because he's like, well, I feel fully confident that I can outbox and outmaneuver Danny Garcia. And then that Errol Spence fight is always going to be waiting there after I still think that he can do it within 2020. Think about it. So right now it's January.
Yeah.
If Pacquiao fights Danny Garcia sometime in the summer, why not close out the year with fighting Errol Spence? I mean, that to me that looks good, and then that's gonna a lot of people. That's gonna quiet a lot of skeptics, and then if he goes out and takes out the young guns within the welterweight division, that's gonna open up a lot of conversations.
Now, but first of all, let's get things in perspective. Manny does not have more than one fight great in him. I mean, I would love for Manny to fight forever, but Father Time is undefeated. Can't he beat Bernard Hopkins? Bernard Hopkins started his pro career kind of late. He started boxing kind of late. Manny Pacquiao,
27 years old.
This is his 4th decade. That's legendary. He's been boxing for 25 years as a pro, I think, which is unheard of. So that being said, for him to be here and still be a champion, I just don't see him having 2 great performances left in him. It takes a toll out of you. So I think he either going to have 1 great performance against Danny Garcia or 1 good fight against Errol Spence where he will lose. Now on to the next round.
All right. So we want to get in a quick super chat from Randy Ridley. Shout out, man. Appreciate the love. And he says, I've been subscribed since there was only 5 of us in the live stream. Keep up the good work, Akhi. Salute to you and the movement. Baby, Brooklyn.
Hi,
family.
Randy.
Appreciate it.
Hey, you already know when you from the same place, you could always relate because you could take somebody out of Brooklyn, but you can never take Brooklyn out of somebody when they leave Brooklyn. So that being said, appreciate it, fam. Appreciate it, Randy. Obviously, that's my hometown. That's where I was born. Always close to my heart. Appreciate it, Randy. But on to the next round. If you also got a question with a super chat, always throw it in there.
Yeah.
And call in, Randy. I left the number. Please call in. But next topic, next round is Danny Garcia versus Errol Spence. Now, how does that play out? Based on what you saw stylistically, does Danny have a chance? Because he didn't look too good against the southpaw. And RedKatch, like I said, he didn't have power. He was getting hurt every time Danny hit him. Now, I'm not saying it was a close fight or any of that sort. I mean, he didn't even win a round. Nope. But what I'm saying is he was supposed to get RedKatch out of there in 2 rounds. I told you this is about to be a highlight reel. You told me, man, are we going live? I'm like, man, by the time I'm finished setting it up, he might knock him out. Yeah. Then watching the fight, he went 12. I'm like, is you serious? So against an Errol Spence,
who
is the truth?
He is the truth.
We don't know how he gonna come back, but even a 70% Errol Spence. I mean, how you see stylistically, does that fight play out? Does Errol Spence have a chance of stopping Danny? Does Danny have a chance of upsetting the apple cart, the truth, Errol Spence?
I mean, there's always a chance. I just don't see it. I think Errol Spence is clearly the better fighter between the two. I think he's the more gifted fighter, more talented. So Errol Spence doesn't have like crazy fast feet, but he has like very strategic footwork. He's able to get into positions that he wants to be. He has a rapier like jab that I think will really confound Danny Garcia. And so usually and then one thing I was looking at is how Danny Garcia, how effective he was at landing the left hook. And you can land the left hook against a southpaw. And you can actually land the jab. We were talking about that at the fight. I was like, just watch somebody like Floyd, somebody that's really sophisticated. And I think that you should, because that's going to keep that lead hand of them occupied. You can work your jab up and down. But also mix in some straight rights. But the truly elite fighters are able to get in their left hook against southpaws. He did get in some left hooks to the body, some left hooks to the head, but that was against an inferior opponent. And I think against Errol Spence, I would take him possibly with a late round knockout. But this is me being nostalgic. I'm thinking about Errol that left, that we saw before the car accident. So that's what I'm basing my assessment off of.
Yeah, and it's not taking shots at Danny. Danny's a good fighter.
No.
Just the fact that you said Errol Spence stopping Danny, who has a great iron chin, just show you how much you believe in Errol Spence, because he is that guy. Errol Spence is one of the few guys that is able to stop the elite level fighters. Because he fought Kell Brook, he stopped him. He fought Lamar Pearson, he stopped him. And, of course, he didn't stop Porter, but he dropped Porter. And he didn't stop Mikey, but Mikey was looking to survive. So Errol is one of the rare fighters that be stopping these elite level fighters, because remember Keith Thurman was one time, as soon as he hit the high level fight, profile fights, profile fights, he could no longer stop his opponent like he used to be. Yeah. I mean, I don't recall the last time he had a knockout. You know what I mean? So it just show you that when you fight,
been a minute, yeah.
So it just show you that it's hard to stop the elite level fighters. Even Manny Pacquiao knew on his heyday after the Ricky Hatton thing, he really couldn't stop a lot of opponents. He hurt a lot of opponents. It'd be cool, but he never took them out with one punch, or at least knock them out throughout the fight. Even Algieri, I think.
Yeah. I think he did knock out Cotto.
Stopped him in the 12th round, but he landed like 1,000,000 punches in that fight.
And he made Cotto come out of what,
145.
145, yeah.
So that being said, Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia. If Errol's the same Errol, I could see him stopping Danny to the body, just based on the body work of Errol Spence, because he is the body snatcher. Nobody has better body work than Errol Spence. He is the best body puncher in the game today. I co-sign that. I believe that's 100% true. I just don't know anybody that has better body work than Errol Spence. So that being said, I think Errol Spence stopped Danny because one thing about Danny, he likes to think. So does Errol. Errol's a counterpuncher. But at the same time, Errol let his punches fly while he's thinking. So he will vary his offense. And it's hard because when you have somebody that varies his offense the way Errol Spence does, just watch the Mikey Garcia fight, who was looking to counter him. He couldn't counter him with the ish because Errol was just varying his offense, and that's a hard thing to do because he's always 10 steps ahead of you. And then when you throw, he counter you, which kind of like throw you off your game. So that's why I think he possibly can stop Danny, but I wouldn't be too shocked if it goes 12 rounds. Now, I don't think it's going to be an easy fight, but Danny Garcia, to be honest with y'all, I did not like what I saw against RedKatch because I saw a lot of opportunities for left hooks. Like RedKatch will be in a perfect position for a left hook because Danny set him up for a left hook. Like he set him up for a left hook by putting him in the right position, by feinting him the right way and all that, but he does not throw the punch, and that's his favorite punch. I don't know if it's the southpaw position that kind of got him thrown off, the angle or whatever, but if you thrown off with that, best believe you're going to be thrown off with Errol Spence. And especially him not using the jab, while Errol Spence throws 1,000 jabs a fight. But one thing that will benefit Danny Garcia in that fight, which I want to get your take on it, is the fact that Errol Spence sometimes relies on blocking punches a lot. He can because he's good at it. Not too many fighters are as good as Errol Spence at blocking punches. But sometimes, blocking haymakers from Danny is not the wisest choice. You better off just avoiding the whole punch by moving or upper body movement. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. Anybody who's ever sparred or been in the ring, knows that even though you're catching punches on your, forearm, shoulders, and all that, like they still have an impact, particularly if it's a strong puncher. So actually, when you said that Errol Spence, can counter you and stuff, I kind of raised my eyebrows a little bit because it's true he can do it, but I don't think he does it a lot. So if I was somebody who was breaking down Errol Spence and I had an opponent, I mean, there's not a lot of flaws in there, but one thing that I will say that if you throw good, strong combinations, he usually keeps his guard up because he's so responsible defensively that he usually kind of just he blocks, he keeps his hand up to block, so he doesn't necessarily block too much with upper body movement or with his feet, but he usually likes to kind of parry or catch the punches and maybe kind of like catch and counter. But the thing is that Danny Garcia is not the type of combination puncher that's going to make Errol Spence keep his hands at home. The reason I said that I think that Manny Pacquiao would have a modicum of success against him is because he could throw those rapid fire combinations, and then Errol Spence is going to like tuck in his elbows, he's going to keep his guard up, and then he's going to catch those punches. But to the outsider looking in, what they're going to see is a Manny Pacquiao Florian. Now, I don't want to get off topic, but so what I want to say is like even with that flaw, I don't think that Danny Garcia's style would allow him to exploit it. And we got a call.
Oh, yeah, we got a caller. Hold on, we got to plug it in first. Now, I agree with you 100% on that. But I think Errol will work both of them. But let me try to connect my man. We got to connect him to the studio. Threw me off guard, but you can read some of the comments till I get the job done.
Alrighty. So we got Miguel Angel Lopez says that post accident Spence is an enigma. Very true. Errol looked and sounded like a vegetable. Sort of like Bam Bam Rios. Okay. I'm like, oh.
So we got the call on the phone on hold. How you doing, Akhi? State where you calling from and who this is.
Hey, calling from Houston, Texas.
Texas. Okay.
What's going on? You said
rapping Texas. You rapping Texas. Errol Spence Town. I see you.
Yeah. What's your name again, fam? Say that again.
Augustine.
Okay. What's good with you, bro?
How y'all doing, man?
All right.
Yeah, we got Augustine Delgado. That's you, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. What's up?
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Danny Garcia versus Errol Spence. I think Spence could beat him. I think Spence could beat him by unanimous decision, only because I've watched the past Danny Garcia fights, and he, kind of relating to what Dante said about, he kind of, levels
he like
up
rises, to his competition, or lowers himself to the competition, Yeah,
I feel like he can rise to the occasion. I mean, just like he did with Thurman, it was just razor thin decision when he fought Thurman. So I feel like he can probably do the same with Spence. To be honest, I'm a big Spence fan, but I'm also unbiased, and I'm gonna tell you this: like that Porter fight, man, I just didn't like the way Spence looked. I don't know, Porter's a beast, but man, I wanted Spence to look better than that,
Right.
And
I agree.
The fighter turns Crawford.
Yeah, and particularly, I thought he fought the wrong fight in there. Even though I thought he won, I didn't think, just stylistically, I didn't think that was the. I mean, I think he chose to do that.
Yeah, he preaches what he does. Yeah. I mean, he said that he was gonna do that. He said he was gonna walk forward and show that he's more of a dog than Sean Porter. I don't think that was the wisest decision, but he chose to do that. Now, obviously, you from Texas, you know what I'm saying? You repping Errol Spence, so I can't let you go before I find out who you picking, Errol Spence or Terrence the Bud Crawford. The fight of the decade. Who you got?
Ooh.
It's kind of hard. Just quickly, I'm going to say I want to see Spence fight better opposition, and I want to see Crawford fight better opposition. It's just really hard to pick between the two, but as of now, since Spence has at least Porter under his resume at 147 and also Kell Brooks, I think when he fought Kell Brooks was number one. Even Thurman didn't want under Kell Brooks, and Spence went over to the UK and took that belt. So right now, I got Spence.
You got Spence? Right. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's clearly, when you look at their body of work at 147, but Crawford came up from 135, right?
Yeah. Crawford came from 135, but he has a frame of 147 pounder. I just think that I will favor Errol Spence slightly, just like my man from Texas. You know what I'm saying? I'm not from Texas, but I got to go for my man Errol Spence if he's still the same. Because like I said, the only difference, or the reason why I would trust Errol Spence in that fight is because he let his hands flow. Like he would let his hands go more so, and that could be to the judges in such a fight that's so close, that's so elite, might be the X factor. So
it might be. So I'm gonna throw a monkey wrench into it, and I think that even though I think Spence has that body of work, I love the adjustments that Bud is able to make, and I think that right now, it just slightly, I think he has the superior kind of, or even maybe kind of boxing IQ. I think their skills are similar. Obviously Spence is not a switch hitter, but if y'all got Spence, I'm gonna go with my Bud. I mean, with my homie Bud Crawford.
Okay. And my man, what's your name again?
Augustine.
And I've always wanted to ask y'all this question because y'all been talking about Spence versus Crawford. So I want to ask y'all something. Who you think has a better chance at making it at 154 and 160 out of Porter, or I mean, out of Spence or Crawford? Who do you think still has a longer way to go?
Errol Spence all day, because you got to keep in mind Crawford already moved up 2 weight divisions. This is his 3rd weight division. It get harder and harder the more you move up. Errol Spence has a big frame. I think Errol Spence's best weight is at 154, to be honest with you. I think he killing himself to make 147. I think 154 he gonna have the right amount of power, the right amount of speed, and I just think he gonna be perfect for that weight. And then 160 he gonna be pushing it a little bit, but with his skill level, I feel like he'd be okay. But Crawford, on the other hand, I don't think he will fare well at 160 because he's just too small.
Yeah,
right.
I think.
So you think he's maxed out at 147?
No, I think
he can go to 154 eventually, but I would give his body time to grow into. But I obviously think that that Spence just has the frame, and like you say, he started out at 147.
Yeah.
I also want to bring in Pito Fresco. I don't think he's out, but he also said something about, Danny did mention going up to 154, and we talked about it, and I said that I think he looks like food to them.
Oh, well, when you move up a division, you ain't going to fight the elite level fighters right away. So, like he did when he first moved up to 147, I mean, Keith Thurman wanted to welcome him to the welterweight division, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, Keith Thurman didn't want to welcome Crawford, but that's food for thoughts. But so when you move up a division, you're going to fight contenders, some fights, there's tune-ups, and then you're going to probably you could find the easy link. You got to keep in mind, Danny Garcia won a strap at 147 against Guerrero when Guerrero was coming off back-to-back losses, like, you know what I mean? So he could move up to 154 and fight Patrick, for example. I favor Danny, you know what I mean? So it's easy. It's easy ways for, like, not saying cheat codes, but at the same time for you to, like, get big fights and win straps. Yeah. So that being said, appreciate you for calling in, man. Always tune in and call in. You know what I mean? Your record on split decision right now is 1-0 right now. You undefeated.
Thank y'all so much. Shouts out to y'all, Professor Nim, Akhi. Thank y'all so much, my brothers.
All right, take care, Akhi. Appreciate it.
So just a couple of things. So Bernard Avila is asking, where am I from originally? So I'm an Army brat. So I'd say I was born in Arkansas, but I lived overseas for a good minute, and I've lived in so many states I don't even want to name. But I did used to stay in Cali. I rep Arkansas because my mom's there and everything. So, but I did used to live in Cali when I was shooting my film. So I stayed in the Van Nuys area, like out there. So shout out to Bernard Avila. I definitely got love for Cali.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But now, just to finish off, my man called in, asked great questions. He brought up a good point. If Danny move up, or I think you brought that up, or somebody brought it up. But Danny moved up. If he moves up to 154, he don't have to worry about the new upcoming.
Or like the Herd, or like the Charlo.
No, I'm talking about Jaron. Jaron, is that how you say his name?
Oh, you talking about
Ennis, yeah. So he don't got to worry about those guys calling him out because Danny's not a champion. Yeah. So those Jaron Ennis looking to fight him and stuff like that. So Sean Porter is a tough fight. Keith Thurman is still a good fight, but I'll favor Danny now. But still a good fight. Keith Thurman, if he back to how he used to be, he a threat. So obviously move up to 154. There's a lot of monsters there, and you don't got to fight the top elite level right away. And who knows when Danny Garcia going to fight a top 154 pounder if that's the case. So that being said, I mean, I'm not too interested in that. I would rather see him stick at welterweight. That being said, on to the next round. Can you hit the bell real quick so we can start the round? So, Herd, I just got a question for you. How he look at versus Santana? Did you enjoy seeing him, box, or would you rather see the old Herd? Now, obviously, he was working on a thing or two, but against Santana, like you said, he always waited too long. For you to put icing on the cake, you got to knock your opponent out, especially a showcase fight that you could hit every time you wanted to. Matter of fact, Herd, every time he let his hand fly, he landed. So Santana obviously fought Charlo, Saddam Ali. That's my broski too. But at the end of the day, I mean, Herd looked like he was three divisions above him. He was supposed to knock him out. What you out here looking like Mayweather for when you could be Mike Tyson versus this guy? I understand you could work on a thing or two, but past 4 rounds, he should have really turned it up on Santana at least. So what's your take on that?
That's what I think. I think at least around the 5th or 6th round, it's like you got in your work. I know you're trying to show off your defensive stuff. So one thing I want to say is that I think we argued a little bit about it. I think that he's taken a lot of punishment for somebody to be under 30 years old in his career at this stage. But that was his style initially. So I think that there was some change that needed to be, but it's really it should be just a bit of a kind of an addendum that you have to your style. Like keep what's working for you, which we saw some of that when he wanted to turn it on, and you could still be responsive defensively and still have an aggressive go forward style, because you look to catch punches. You making sure that you have good ring generalship, that you are cutting off the ring and not following, because he has a bad habit of following his opponent, and then that's why he gets hot. It's like, no, you have to cut off the ring and then force him into these situations, and then land your combinations or rough him up on the inside. I was not impressed at all. I don't think anybody who saw the fight was really impressed with Hurd. At one point, he was kind of dancing around the ring after he had got his opponent hurt, I think the round previously. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, make a statement, make an imprint. There's a lot of questions that we had about you entering into this fight. And I told Akhi, I was like, we came out with really no answers and more questions. so that was my assessment of it.
Yeah, and this is not to throw any shade on Hurd. We just know he could do better. And like I said, to grow your profile, especially when Showtime did a tremendous job promoting these fighters like Danny, both of the Swifts, the original Swift and, of course, Hurd, you have to show in and show out. This is your perfect time you had a minor setback for a major comeback. This is time for you to show you're going to have a major comeback. And I don't think Hurd showed that. He just showed that Hurd is back, but he could have showed more. He could have finished it and put the icing on the cake. And that's so I definitely see where you're coming from. Now, on to the next round, because there's a lot of people saying that my man Crawford ducking Porter, right? Kenny Porter came out saying that he felt like basically Top Rank and Bob Arum is clout chasing off Porter's name. You know what I mean? And then not too long after, Porter had an interview on PBC and stated he have a short list. And that short list only had Errol the Truth Spence and Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao. Now y'all have to keep in mind that Porter just got married, so congratulations to him. Now if they are true friends, Crawford should have been at the wedding. You know what I mean? That's if you my friend, you know what I'm saying? Like, you better show up at my wedding. That's how I'm feeling. But maybe he was busy, maybe he was not, maybe he showed up, maybe he didn't. I don't know, but I'm just saying, outside looking in, right? But for Porter to come out and say, I have a short list of Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao, and ignore the elephant in the room that's been in the talk in the media for the past couple months, Crawford, who's pound for pound number one, shows that he's not interested in fighting Crawford. Regardless of the reason, either his friend, either they too close, either they don't want to fight each other, whatever the reason is, Porter had his chance to call out my man Crawford and put him in a spot where if he says no, he gonna look bad and horrible, and people gonna say he ducking. Now that narrative is thrown out the window. That narrative of Crawford avoiding Porter is thrown out the window, because Porter himself didn't call him out. Porter had a chance of saying he want Crawford next. And you could do it respectfully. You don't have to disrespect nobody. But he said, on the other hand, he have a short list of 2 fighters, and that's Manny Pacquiao and Errol Spence, and he ignored pound for pound number one Crawford, who been on the talks in the media for like the past 2 months of him versus Porter. So what's your take on that whole matter?
I mean, it's bogus. I'm not the One thing I'm not the biggest fan of Sean Porter's fighting style necessarily, but one thing that if people talk about it, I was like, you got to give him credit. He has probably fought the most top level welterweights out there. He's fought Porter, he's fought Danny Garcia, he's fought Thurman, he's fought Ugas. He's do that. So to question his heart, I think is a bit disingenuous in there, but I am just tired of everybody treating Terrence Crawford like he's just this boogeyman. I'm not saying that he's like, when they look at him, like they don't see somebody that is a formidable opponent, but and maybe it's something that Al Heyman has kind of gotten to the ears, just like, hey, that's another guy at the network. We don't really want to mention his name. We don't want to give them. So that might be something into it. But all these fighters, like, they just won't mention his name at all. I'm just like, God, this is number one pound for pound. We know who he is. We know who this guy is.
I don't think Heyman mentioned anything to Sean and told him don't mention Crawford. I don't think Heyman ever did so. I think Danny's not interested in Crawford, just stylistically.
Yeah.
I think Porter just not interested in fighting Crawford, not stylistically, but more so friendship-wise. Because it's a big fight for Porter. It's a win-win situation. And just to put icing on the cake and end the conversation. Because a lot of people want to call Crawford out saying he ducking Porter, this and that. Listen, the WBO has a rule that you cannot fight for that strap coming off a loss. And who's coming off a loss? Porter is. So he cannot fight Crawford coming off a loss because the WBO have a rule you can't fight a champion coming off a loss, right? Of course, they broke that rule for the one and only Lomachenko, but
do it again.
Lomachenko is on the hope list. Porter is on the coincidental list. They ain't about to do that. They not about to go against the rules and do it for a fighter on the coincidental list. Absolutely not. So that being said, shout out to Sean Johnson. There's a lot of people I want to give a shout out to real quick. Jay Cooley, Real Rap. It ain't no longer a rap critic. It's Real Rap. My man switched his name. Hey, Real Rap's supposed to have a rap battle today with my man. What's his name?
Serrano Boxing.
Serrano Boxing.
Serrano.
Hopefully my man is a show. Hopefully my man didn't end up being a no-show. But obviously we were supposed to be live yesterday. We had technical issues, so we are live today. So of course, you know, that could be the reason. But regardless of that, shout out to everybody in the chat. If y'all have any questions, y'all could just throw a super chat and we would definitely answer. Now, first of all, just to get back to the topic real quick, as far as Porter and stuff, like I said, I don't think Al Heyman is telling these guys, oh, don't call out Crawford, this and that. I just think these guys are not interested in Crawford because, like I said, and I will stick to my guns, is the fact that Crawford is a higher reward if you could beat him, but good luck beating him, so he ended up being a higher risk. Mm-hmm. So you know what I'm saying? So Danny Garcia is not interested because of that. Porter is not interested because of friendship. I don't think it's stylistically or whatever. And of course, Errol Spence wanted to smoke. So other than Keith Thurman, who obviously don't want to fight Crawford because Crawford is the truth. He wanted to welcome Danny Garcia, but he don't want to welcome Crawford to the welterweight division. Even when Crawford got a strap now, he doesn't. Still not interested. Obviously, he's still going to have a comeback fight. He going to need a tune-up before fighting pound for pound number one Crawford. So what I'm saying is not the fact that Heyman is telling these guys, oh, yeah, you know, don't do this, don't do that. I just think it's the fighters. It's their decision. He's just the manager. He makes the best decision for the fighter. He would love to make the Porter fight happen for Porter. I mean, against Crawford. Heyman would love to make that happen because business-wise, it's a wise decision for them because it will build up the Errol Spence fight. It will get Porter to fight an elite-level fighter and do business with ESPN. So any last thoughts on that topic in particular?
Well, fighters fight. You know, talk is talk. So this is a lot of talk right now. Welterweight is easily the best division in boxing right now. But we are going to miss out on a golden era if the top fighters. So just think about if Sugar Ray Leonard never fought Roberto Duran or never fought Tommy Hearns, or Tommy Hearns never fought Roberto. I mean, all this, and then even with Wilfred Benitez, just think of all of these fighters were just playing politics. It would have changed the historical imprint of boxing, and then so you paid. We're not into bullying and making somebody get into the ring with somebody that they don't want to, but fighters fight. Man.
But before you hit the bell, I just want to get this out the way. Like the golden era, like people like to praise it and stuff. Let's all be honest real quick. Obviously, the PBC is like the UFC of boxing, but the UFC really have a kind of structure of the best having to fight the best. But in boxing, it's always been like this. Even back in the day, I mean, even when Duran fought Sugar Ray Leonard, they fought like so far in between. I mean, Sugar Ray Leonard didn't fight Hagler till I don't know when, 5 years too late.
But no, so Hagler was a middleweight.
I know, but I'm talking about a lot of fights that Leonard didn't fight everybody, and Leonard one of my favorite fighters. So I'm just saying, like, business
Leonard
always
didn't fight everybody.
Always played into this. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my.
Yeah. So
I've really never heard that. Leonard fought everybody.
Pryor, what's that guy named Pryor that hit a
Aaron
fight?
Pryor.
Yeah, Aaron Pryor. Like this guy's that I could
that
call
was a
you.
140 fighter. I don't know if Aaron Pryor ever moved up to 147.
He wanted to fight him now.
But people did say that. But
like he said, I heard Leonard offered him a small time offer, but I heard it was such a low blow offer. I mean, so like I said, at the end of the day, I'm just saying this has always took place in the business in boxing because of business. The way it's structured, it will always and it will ever be like it will forever be this way till Heyman get in control of all these fighters and sign them together under PBC. If he's able to do that, then he could pull off something like that of the best fighting the best, and we get a Super Bowl every year. Other than that, we will always have this issue. So
I mean, that doesn't mean that we have to like it. I
don't like it, but I'm just saying,
but it's just
what
back in
it
the
is.
day when all the heavyweights were in Muhammad Ali's era with Foreman and Frazier and
Ali
stuff.
Different now.
But still, those guys fought each other like they were. People don't understand. George Foreman was a beast.
That's a true golden era.
Yeah, okay.
That's the golden era you're talking about. But I'm talking about the welterweights in the 80s, the 90s. Let's all be honest. They did maneuver around as well. So go ahead, hit the next round. And, of course, you already know. I mean, Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury. Both of them were dripped up during the press conference in L.A. Obviously, Wilder always come correct. I'm always interested to see what a brother wearing next. Of course, Fury rocking the fruity suits, but he looks good in them. So at the end of the day, they had a little talk. They had a tremendous respect for each other. It threw me off guard a little bit. I didn't see that coming. I thought they were going, trash talk, but they actually respected each other a lot. They gave each other props. I mean, Tyson Fury on one hand called Wilder the hardest hitter of all time. As he should, because he's fighting him. So if you're gonna beat him, you want to get your credit and your props, right? Wilder, on the other hand, he gave Fury his props. Now, what's funny though, is that during that whole exchange, the lineal title got brought up, and Wilder said the lineal title is gonna end with you when I knock your ass out. Back to the WWE. Now, what I'm saying is, Wilder brought up a great point, which I want you to explain to me. Why is Tyson Fury or Klitschko was the lineal champion when it should have ended with Lennox Lewis? Because Wilder said it should have ended with Lennox Lewis because Lennox Lewis retired. Nobody beat him, and he was the lineal champ. So if you are the lineal champion, you never got beaten, you retired. How does the title get picked back up? Is it for you to have all the straps or what?
Yeah, and so what happens is that when he retired, the basically the kind of crown got broken into like different fragments, and then everybody else got a piece of the crown. And then at one point there was a two-headed monster. There was Vladimir Klitschko and then Vitaly Klitschko. So I think basically they essentially granted Vladimir the undisputed title once his brother Vitaly retired because Vitaly never lost in the ring. Of course, lost in the ring after becoming champion. He actually just retired. With those belts. So, but at that time,
so he retired as well. He retired before he even got beat. Because Tyson Fury beat the other twin brother, who was kind of like not the best brother out of the two.
So he skill wise he was the best brother, but like heart and grit wise, it was definitely your boy Vitaly Klitschko.
Yeah, you could continue. I still got to connect it to the studio.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead as we get this call ready. So, from my understanding, Vladimir at that time was recognized as the undisputed. Particularly once he beat David Haye, because David Haye had beat that big Russian guy and got there. So he was recognized as the lineal champion at that point.
Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. So it sounds like the title get picked back up and they give it to like who's the most deserving. And it's kind of like the Ring Magazine title, you know what I'm saying, for a Golden Boy. It's just that it's called lineal, and like I said, you don't really have to defeat the original champ. So it do get picked back up. So Tyson Fury basically stated that he is like the faith of boxing, because Wilder said it doesn't exist. Where is the title? He was like, well, faith don't exist. I mean, religion, belief is like faith. So he the faith of boxing, or he the faith champion, or something like that. Anyways, 337 on the phone. Who this is? Where you call it from? How you doing, Akhi?
Yo, Akhi, Professor Nels was good, bro. It's
real rap.
Yeah, it's real rap, man.
So is it real rap or rap critic? Which one is it? Let it be known, huh?
it's rap critic, but I changed my name to real rap, bro. Because to be honest, I ain't listening to this new music anymore. And I don't criticize the young ones. It's their time, man. Yeah. So I was like, look, I'm gonna change my name to real rap, man.
Okay,
keep it real.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Respect, I like that. I like that touch. How you feeling today?
I'm alright, man. I'm going through it like everybody else with the COVID situation, man.
Oh, man.
Rest in
peace.
Yeah, man. Rest in peace to Kobe and his little girl, and all those families that definitely lost their loved ones. But
that was devastating. Yeah.
It was, I just wanted to, shout out my dog, before we get into this boxing, man. And I wanted to salute y'all, man. Like, I know, I think y'all was probably having technical difficulties yesterday, but, salute to y'all, man, because, y'all came right back first thing in the morning, bro. Like, that's hard. That's dedication, man.
Yes, sir. Real rap. People don't know. Professor Nin got a class in between. You know what I'm saying? We had to squeeze this in. I got a class too. He got to go teach. I got to go learn. You know what I'm saying? We still squeezed it in. So, we grinding.
Yeah, man, that's dedication, man. Salute to my dog, Akhi, and, salute to my brother, Professor Nims. Let's get into it, bro. I watched the press conference. I saw the Wilder, the Wilder Fury press conference, man. Professor Nels, man, why Fury came looking like he was going to a hillbilly prom, man?
That's the Gypsy King, man. That's the Gypsy. He kind of marched to the beat of his own drum.
All he was missing was a straw in his mouth and a sawed-off shotgun. Man, what the hell going on with you?
Man, Tyson Fury, man, he be trying though.
Too much, man. Too much. But I'm waiting for the fight. Anticipated. I already know, man. With the way Wilder is, as composed as he is, you know what I'm saying. He got Fury quieter than the church mouse, man. Like, he ain't doing all them antics. You know what I'm saying. Like, I know, like whatever higher power he prayed to, man. I know. Man, Fury on it, because he know, man, Judgment Day coming soon, February 22nd.
Judgment Day, oh man, that's perfectly worded. Now, do you believe Tyson Fury stating that he will go straight to Wilder? He gonna take it to him and he gonna knock him out. Like, do you believe that, or you think he's gonna dance around and stuff like that?
excuse my English, but fuck no. You know what I'm saying? That's all smoke, man. His best chance is he gonna get clipped, but his best chance is to do that awkward herky jerky shit. That's his best chance. He ain't got no power, man. His power is on the level of Rock'em Sock'em Robots, man. Like he ain't got that he ain't got that type of power to
he ain't got that one hitter quitter.
Yeah, he definitely don't.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So as far as Fury, I'm gonna let him talk, you know what I'm saying? Like Fury's gonna throw out a fake game plan and do something else. You know, he ain't fooling nobody, man. I want to touch on.
And who did you call out last week? What was it, my man? Who was it, Professor?
That's a good question, man. Hold on, I don't see him in the chat yet.
Oh yeah, you don't
that was Serrano Boxing.
Serrano Boxing. Okay, so he's not in the chat.
Yeah.
Because he said he was gonna call in, but he did reach out to me yesterday.
Yeah.
He reached out to me yesterday. You know what I'm saying? In the comment section saying that he was gonna call in and stuff. But like I said, we did not make it yesterday, so that could be the reason.
Right.
But yeah, okay. I just want to make sure because we're gonna have to reschedule the rematch.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And we want to be fair. Yeah, so it's not like he's necessarily ducking. He did reach out to us.
Yes, sir.
In there.
Yeah, we got another call. I'm gonna call you right back, but real rap, you can wrap it up. Yeah. No, I ain't talking about you. I'm talking about whoever is calling.
Oh, okay, bet. Just touch on Charlo right quick, man. I was in Jamel Charlo. I'm talking about. I was thinking, man, if I don't know if it's possible. You know what I'm saying? Like I know, like y'all probably know, like the history better than I do. But I was wondering, like, would it be possible for Jamel Charlo to pay out J Rock to let him get Rosario first, and then J Rock get the winner of Rosario Charlo?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that way we can go and get that unification there.
I mean, absolutely. Like there's they call that step aside money, right? So if you're a mandatory and then there's like a bigger fight on the horizon, the problem is that Rosario doesn't want that fight. I want to see that fight. I thought Charlo would be chomping at the bit to kind of get it, but after the fight, they were talking to his manager, and they was like, "Well, we got a couple of mandatories, and basically what they want to probably do is something sort of like a homecoming." Kind of get just some cherry pick fighters, like let him kind of go around with the belt, kind of build up his profile.
Yeah, he definitely want a hometown fight in the Dominican Republic, kind of represent himself, and it's like when you're a champion from countries like that, it's basically when you win, it's like a Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? They idolize you and all that. So. He definitely not too interested in Charlo right away. So let's see J Rock if he could pull it together and beat a guy like Rosario, because the flow and the landscape at 154 is just crazy. I mean, this guy beat Lara loses to Hurd loses to J Rock loses to this guy. Rosario lost to the same guy that Lubin beat, and Lubin get knocked out by Charlo. The landscape is just crazy, man. Yeah. But
and then throwing Harrison, you got him in there, so it's like we're waiting somebody, and that's to me. I thought this was the perfect landscape for Charlo to come through and then just clean out the division, and then this will, to me, I think will really get him on the cusp of being kind of on superstar status. If you clean out that division. Of course, the loss to Harrison was a bit of a step back, but I think if he can get all of those belts, then that would go a long way.
Yeah, but I appreciate you, Real Rat. I got
appreciate
a lot of calls,
the love, man.
So you could call toward the end of the show because we're gonna. I need you to call in for the Charlo topic.
That's a bet. I got you.
I bet. Appreciate it.
So
you could take on. Can you like read?
So one thing that I want to say, and hopefully he'll call in, but LCD Boxing HOD. So he does bring up some good points, right? Yeah. So he says, fellas, that Vlad was recognized as the ring champ, whatnot, which is kind of I'm like because of their association with Golden Gloves, I'm like a little skeptical about them. He said while Vitaly was still the WBC champ. And then Vitaly retired. The ring champ was confused with Lenio. Vlad was never the undisputed. So we didn't say he was necessarily the undisputed. But it says Fury beat the unified and ring champ when he beat Vlad. To be lineal, you have to beat the man who beat the man. But particularly because nobody had beat the man, I think that they were trying to classify because nobody beat Lennox Lewis, right? So he had all the belts. He retired in there. It was
so
spread
right
around.
there, it get picked back up. That's just basically what it is.
Yeah.
Now we have 404 on the phone. How you doing, Akhi? Where you calling from? State who this is.
What up, what up? Just wake up, Mr. Fresh. Remember to stay to wake up. Please, will you? Calling from the ATL right now, man.
Oh, ATL. What's good?
Wake up, wake up. We up early in the morning grinding. How you doing, Akhi?
I'm all right, man. I'm over here on the clock on the 9 to 5, man. I caught y'all a little late, but I'm glad I caught y'all, man. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate it.
Nah, thanks for tuning in.
How
bro.
you feeling?
Hey, man, I'm feeling great, man. But I want to say, man, all right, so we all saying Wilder gonna knock out Fury for real, basically, right?
Well, we haven't said that yet. We haven't
dropped the prediction.
Okay.
We're gonna give our predictions as it gets a little
as
bit
it
closer.
get closer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but is it me or is it like in that last press conference, man? It just seemed like Fury, like, all right, like he already in his mindset, like he know he ain't really gonna, you know, he's not gonna win in that same fashion. Like he know he got to do something else, but it seems like he know he can't really knock Deontay out. You know what I'm saying? So he's just like, he's just like here with it.
Yeah, I think he gonna have to kick in order to win. I don't know, man. The hand thing ain't gonna work for him because he pillow fisted. But nah, it's just jokes aside. He do have the skill. I don't think it's gonna be an easy fight. I think Deontay Wilder is gonna definitely have to set Tyson Fury up. You know, throw the left hook, throw feints, throw away punches, set him up. Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's like like we know Fury, like we seen Deontay get hurt. We know Fury ain't hurt nobody, not like that, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So who you picking?
Been off his feet yet. Oh man, I'm picking Deontay in this one, man. I feel like Tyson Fury been hit with it, and so now I feel like he, you know, like when you get hit with something, you kind of be looking for it now the whole time. I feel like he's gonna be way more cautious than he was in the first fight, and you know what I'm saying? So I still don't feel like it's gonna be enough.
Yeah. One thing I will say about Wilder, and I think he's great for boxing. I love Wilder. I'm not the kind of like big is just because I'm a kind of a purist when I look at it. So I'm like with his style, I want to see some things. But I will say with when he does do rematches, I think this is his third one. He did a rematch against Stavern and then Ortiz, and he usually comes pretty devastated in his rematches.
Right, yeah, the rematches, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like he feels you, like now he knows where he knows where you at. He knows what you really got. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, all right, I'm about to just walk through these little pillows and just give you this one real quick, and it's over. Like night for real.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, man. Is there anything that you want to close out with before we?
Yeah, I got another question about the 154 division.
Okay,
like,
go ahead.
Y'all seen Hurd, man. What y'all thinking? Y'all think like he could implement this with his regular pressure style, and that might work out better for him? Because he still looked a little like, you know, you could tell he was just getting used to really using his back foot jab, moving more. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think you just gotta work with what God gave you. You know what I'm saying? He definitely ain't getting better as far as defense wise. You could learn a couple different tricks, but one thing for sure, like, you know, defensively he's not the best at that. He's terrible. One thing he could work on is trying to get better at the gym with his skill, but you know what I'm saying? Like, he's not gonna change. But it's just when it comes, it all comes down to stylistic matchups. You know, if it's a matchup where somebody is his opponent kind of fold under pressure, then Hurd gonna shine that night. But if he has an opponent that's kind of has a tunnel vision and he determined that night, you know, he gonna have a tough time. And that's just how I see Hurd, to be honest, at 154. What you think, Professor Nail?
Yeah, I didn't. One of the things that I saw was troubling was Hurd on the back foot, and I was like, that is never a good look for him. You're not a back foot fighter, so that means just kind of like backling up and like circling. So if he would implement some kind of slick defensive moves while going forward and still keeping that pressure, then I could see that being implemented into his style, right? So sort of, I mean, not like James Toney, because James Toney used to do it against the ropes, but how James Toney was able to kind of, move his shoulders and kind of, parry punches and kind of swing back and forth. I think implement that, but you still got to go forward. That's your style. That's your bread and butter. That's what got you to the top.
Yes. We got to keep the show rolling. Appreciate you for calling in, Akhi. Make sure you tune in next show as well.
Appreciate the love, bro.
And on to the next round. Of course, we got to talk about this. AJ came out saying that he wants a 70-30 split. He ain't fine. He ain't cool with a 50-50 split. Now, first of all, man, this is absolutely ridiculous. I no disrespect to nobody, but at the end of the day, you got to keep in mind, Wilder fought Ortiz, the same guy that AJ didn't want to fight at the time. He promised him a fight. He told Ortiz, listen, if you let me fight for this belt against Klitschko, I'm going to fight you next as a mandatory. Ortiz trusted in him, and Eddie Hearn screwed him, right? So Wilder gave Ortiz a shot and cleared up that mess. He fought Ortiz twice, knocked him out twice. He fought Fury. He fought him, or he about to fight him the second time, right? Mm-hmm. And keep in mind, Fury, Wilder, AJ are the top three. Yeah, regardless of what you say. So Wilder fought one of the top three. Matter of fact, two of the top four. Because Ortiz is really up there too. So AJ haven't fought no one yet on that level. Dillian White at the moment, doesn't count. You know what I'm saying? Like, Dillian White is just a okay fighter. He like a Brazil. Wilder will treat him like a Brazil because he's just a fly on your ear that you squash when it's time to, right? Mm-hmm. So that being said, for AJ to come out and make such a ridiculous statement when he knows he's coming off a loss to Ruiz, a guy who ate burgers all day and knocked him out one day when he decided to train, and then came on the rematch overweight and lost. And AJ, one fight removed from a loss, and he gonna act like he the A side and he want a 70-30 split, even though he gave Parker at the time 34% split at the time. Joseph Parker.
34-60.
Yeah, 34.
66.
Yeah, like, and you're gonna want to give Wilder 30%. It should be 60-40 in favor of Deontay Wilder if Deontay Wilder knocks out Tyson Fury. That's how the split should be, to be honest. And while AJ has the audacity to make such a claim, then of course he don't want the smoke. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course he does not want the smoke. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, I just think that this is just another reason why boxing is struggling it's struggling in a sense with its popularity, but it's healthy because of we have a lot of young, strong, bright fighters in there, but all of these other politics and BSing that goes on is really what hurts the sport. So when you come out and you got a champion like Wilder, who is wildly popular and I'm not gonna say he's carrying the division on his shoulder, but he's one of the people that is holding it up, and then you're gonna throw out something disrespectful, say a 70-30 split. To me, that just says you don't want to fight. Like, come on, AJ. Like, what's...
Yeah, it's like Wilder, just like Akhi. Y'all see, Akhi University, there's a boxing theme, put the guns down and the gloves up. Wilder, just like Akhi, is carrying boxing on his back. You see me carrying boxing on my back if you see the logo on the back. So that being said, Wilder's carrying the sport on his back. He the most feared for the past decade, according to the fans. Yeah. We picked Rigondeaux out. The fans picked Deontay Wilder because why? Because guys like AJ requesting $50 million and then turning it down. Sending Wilder a offer for $15 million flat and then turning his own offer down. How you send me an offer, then turn it down? And then come out with a ridiculous statement like that when Wilder is supposed to be fighting Fury. And then all we hear about from AJ, all we hear is him mentioning Deontay Wilder in the media. Prior to the fight versus Ruiz rematch, he said he don't want to hear no talks of Wilder. But after the fight, all he been doing is talking about Deontay Wilder. So which one is it? So I'm just saying it's not a good look for AJ at this moment for him to continuing on this contradicting himself path. So in order for him to clear her up, he must fight Wilder next, win or lose.
Yeah,
he
like,
need to
win or
fight
lose,
Wilder,
like,
win or
people have
lose,
so, like,
because this gonna haunt him for the rest of his career.
It is, and then people understand it's not about the real fans. It's not about if you win or lose. It is just how you carry yourself and in that ring and do that. Like it's a lot of people who lost, but we give them respect because like you fought like a champion. You showed heart. You came to the fight prepared. Because with Andy Ruiz, one of the reasons that people lost respect is because you didn't give yourself every chance possible to win that rematch. So when you disrespect the sport like that, then you're gonna lose some of your fan. And then so he's, we won't get into he's switching the trainer and all that. But I would like to take AJ's advice, and I don't really want to hear about AJ because right now it should be about Wilder and Fury. I'm sorry.
That's what I'm saying. But just to clear this up, I mean, you got to keep in mind, Ali name, Muhammad Ali, the greatest, the highest, always going to be attached to who? To Frazier. George Foreman, right?
Foreman, yeah.
I mean, Floyd Mayweather name always be attached to Pacquiao's. Likewise, you know what I'm saying? Vice versa, right? Wilder name will always be attached to AJ, and AJ name will always be attached to Wilder. And what they gonna remember is AJ being scared to death from Wilder. At least to the public, that's how it looks. And AJ came to the US, and Ruiz sent him back to the UK. So you ain't even the champion of the world. You ain't even the champion of the world. He the champion of a continent. You get what I'm saying? So you got to put some respect on your name. And I don't know if you know this. Matter of fact, you do know this because I talked to you at the time. When AJ first came on the scene, he was my favorite heavyweight. Mm-hmm. I thought he was going to be the future.
Yeah, he looked like it.
And I talked about, you remember how I used to talk about him? I always promoted him in a high sense and all that. And I still do. But man, you just cannot defend his action. You can't, like, the man make you look horrible. I will report a news on him saying certain thing, and then the next day he will say that completely opposite thing and make me look bad. And I'm like,
he makes it.
You make me look bad, man. Forget you. You making Akhi look bad.
I was in the same boat with you. I thought when he at first came out, particularly, I said that he'll beat Wilder. He's a better school boxer than Wilder. I thought he had all of the intangibles in there, and then it started slowly crumbling this facade that he essentially brought up.
And that's because of that mental thing. But
it is like a mental strong. So I want to just, it's a little bit of an addendum. So LCD Boxing says that you can say, so Wilder is holding up the sport. I'm going to disagree with that because I know they're going to hate on me. If there's a guy named Canelo, who I still think that...
the next topic. We're going to get to his ass. First of all, Canelo ain't holding ish because he over here making the sport look bad.
No, what I'm saying is like...
I'm saying he making the sport look bad. Canelo making the sport look bad.
There's like about 3 or 4 fighters, I think the sport is on their shoulders right now holding up. I don't think that Wilder... If Wilder's holding the sport up, then we're kind of in trouble right now.
Well, why will we be in trouble? He has an upcoming fight that's the biggest fight of the year against Fury, and it's a heavyweight fight, and he a knockout artist, and he the most popular fighter in the world, and he deliver a knockout every time, and he doesn't duck anybody, unlike Canelo.
I want to see that poll. I don't think he's the most popular fighter in the world.
Can you hit the bell so we can hop up to the next round?
I don't think he's the most popular fighter in the world.
Well, according to ESPN, Forbes list, he's the most popular fighter in the world today that's active. So on to the next topic, and that's, of course, other than, Oscar, he said Charlo turned down a big-time offer by Canelo to fight.
$7 million.
And, no, not $7 million.
It was $7 million?
No, that was,
I thought that was offered. So, okay.
Hold on. That was for Andre.
That was for Andre.
Yeah, we're getting things in perspective. Okay. I'm talking about he didn't release the number. He didn't release the number at all. Mm-hmm. So, my question to you is, first of all, just to get this cleared out the way, Eddie Hearn came out saying that he sent Charlo $7 million to fight Andre.
Oh, to fight Andre. Yeah. Okay.
And PBC came out saying that they never received any offer. So who did you send it to, Eddie Hearn? Tim Smith came out and stated that, right?
What happened? He got one of them emails from them.
No, so what it is, Eddie Hearn came back up and said he sent it to him on Instagram. So I was like, what? So basically he DM'd my man. Through Instagram. So he basically sent the offer through Instagram, which is laughable for a promoter at that caliber for him to send an offer through Instagram. I thought you was mocking Deontay Wilder for not sending you a contract when the $50 million thing, he was
or for even negotiating over social media. That's not where you negotiate.
Yeah, so why would you negotiate through social media when you just did business with Al Heyman through Ruiz? When Ruiz fought AJ twice. So my question to you is, what you think about that in particular, and also the Canelo situation, because apparently Charlo, people want to get on him for turning this big time offer. But if it's a big time offer, how come they didn't release the number? And how come we hear this news a year later? If this took place last year, then I could be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But you tell us this a year later, and that same year you claim you offered Charlo the big time offer, he got stripped of his belt. How is that even possible? If that's the case, the WBC should have contacted Canelo, and Canelo would have told him, listen, I offered him a big time offer. Y'all ain't stripping me on my belt. But he paid the WBC more money than he paid Charlo. That's what I believe. I believe he paid the WBC more money for the French fries belt than he paid Charlo to fight. So of course, Al Heyman told him, absolutely not. You could fight. You could make the same amount of money fighting Banks, because that's look like Charlo next fight. That's what it's looking like. But I say that because Oscar De La Hoya said, I don't think Charlo turned the fight down. I think it was his management. Who is his management other than Al Heyman? That's the best. That's the best, smartest man in the game. Like, so of course Al Heyman gonna do and look out for his fighter if Oscar De La Hoya trying to lowball him. Now, what's your take on that?
Yeah. So again, Sean, he.
I got a couple calls. I'm holding on that
like,
for a little bit right now.
Once he hear any Canelo news, Sean wants to kind of like chime in. So, I mean, I don't really like to spend a lot of time on what I kind of classify as hearsay, and he said this, but I didn't say that, but he said this, and he was all doing that, and we're kind of like picking sides.
Yeah, we're short on time too.
One thing I want to say is that the Charlo should fight Andrade. He should make it happen. I don't care.
Eddie need to send him a real offer.
I think
not
that
through Instagram.
Yeah, I think that if he wants to fight, to me, I've never heard him anything come out his mouth to say anything remotely close to, I want to fight Andrade, I want to get him in the ring.
He already said that though. But anyways, so the conclusion of as far as Canelo and Charlo.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Canelo is that I think Canelo's like kind of up here, at this point, and Charlo and them are kind of like down here. So what Canelo's gonna do, I think he's gonna milk some stuff. His next fight that he's negotiating, I know that's the next topic I'm really truly disgusted at, but I'm just trying to give you some insight into how he's thinking at this point. But so
he rather fight Murat at Japan that lost to Indom and somebody else who I don't know who it is, and and avoid Charlo and Andrade. I understand you avoiding Charlo, but avoiding Andrade on your own network, I mean, come on now, like, for him to do such a move is pathetic, because like I said, at the end of the day, you can't even defend Canelo. Like, ain't no defending Canelo. Because
so we're gonna go to the next topic. Or are we gonna go? To Canelo?
You want to throw the towel? I mean, it's all together. It's all together, so it's okay. We can stick together. Okay. We can stick together. We could throw it all in because we short on time as we speak, and I'm trying to pick up all the calls of the people that call me. So I'm trying to kind of mention all the topics and then pick up all the calls. So like I said, Canelo, on one hand, he looking horrible because you turning down the Charlo fight. I mean, you could claim you send him an offer and then announce it a year later. But like I said, when you pay the fees of the WBC for the franchise title more money than you pay Charlo, of course Charlo ain't gonna take the fight. You bluffing.
Why not? Because it's like what you do is take that lowball offer if you know that you can beat him, and then you take all his fans, and then you
first of all, you don't know if you're gonna beat him or not because he's gonna rob you. He got the judge's scorecard in his pocket. Second of all, according to you, last show, you said, I asked you about Layla Ali, did she avoid Anna Wolf? And you said, if she the A side, if the fight don't happen, then it's her fault. If the fight don't happen, and it's Canelo the A side, then it's his fault, right? According to your
No,
logic.
I'm saying like, so I don't recall Layla like sending Ann Wolf an offer
She did.
or something like that.
She did.
And then Ann Wolf turned it. No. She offered to put Ann Wolf on the undercard. I'm saying like me and you fight and
which was a
like,
follow-up.
No, what I'm saying is like, you're not my manager. Like, you don't dictate my fights and do that. So I mean that's different.
It's to build up a fight.
That's you don't have to build up a fight with Ann Wolf. With Ann Wolf, you act like there's 1,000. There's only 2
according to
women.
Layla Ali, she sent an offer to fight and she turned it down. But I'm saying your logic last show was, well, listen, if she the A side and the fight didn't take place, it's her fault because she pulls the strings. So Canelo pulls the strings. But
they're still fighting right now.
The last time we heard somebody send the big time offer was AJ when he sent Wilder an offer for $12 million flat, and he said, "I send Wilder an offer he can never refuse." And we were like, "For real? How big is this offer?" And then we figured out it's $12 million, and we're like, "What? Flat?" And the fight is $100 million fight. So he could have sent them the same offer. He could have sent them a $3 million offer. Charlo looking at it, I'm about to fight Banks for $5 million. Why should I take this? Of course it's not a wise decision, but you go ahead and read the super chat.
No, there's a difference. And I'll read
the super chat and you could get your thoughts.
So it says, Real Rap, build the empire brick by brick. Salute Akhi, Professor Nim. Salute to the grind.
Real rap all day.
One thing I want to say is like, so there's a difference because with Wilder and AJ, there's not clearly an A side on there. Like I think we can all agree on that. Like some people would say Wilder, somebody did that.
That's a good point.
And then with this, like there's clearly an A. So I'm saying if there's clearly an A side, and then that fight doesn't get made, then it's that A side's fault.
Well,
so
according to you, Layla Ali is clearly an A side.
Yeah. So
over Anna Wolf.
Yeah, clearly. And I think that Canelo's if he never fights Charlo or Andrade or whatnot, it's his fault.
Yeah, and like just to point out, for Mayweather and Pacquiao happened 5 years too late because Pacquiao and Bob Arum. Canelo Alvarez, 5 years in, he haven't negotiated with Andrade, and finally he negotiated with Charlo once. He tried to lowball him, but at least it's a good sign. It's a sign of hope that this man is gonna grow some cojones and fight the best fighters in his division instead of fighting Murat. A fighter we never heard of. Name me a fighter that's on the top pound for pound that fights a Murat. Like on the top 3 pound for pound. How do you justify that?
Yeah,
there's no justifying that. They know justifying that. But let me pick up the calls because, man, I got too many people on hold, so I gotta call in and stuff. So like I said, at the end of the day, I see where you're coming from, but. You know, Canelo making himself look horrible. I mean, Professor Nim is like digging his own grave trying to defend Canelo. You know what I'm saying? So Canelo, man, if you know better, do better. What's up, fam? How you doing? Stay where you calling from and your question.
And your name.
And your name too. This wake up, Mr. Fresh, man. Y'all call me back, man. You know
you called back.
My bad. I appreciate it. Hold on, I missed the call, man. My bad. Wake up. My bad, man.
Y'all good, man. Y'all good, man.
Take care. Damn, because I got people in order, and I definitely don't want to miss anybody. You know what I'm saying? So, man, I got so many missed calls, man. But we short on time, so I'm trying to squeeze everybody in.
We want to make sure, like Sean Johnson, call in. T-Tone Toledo, we want to hear from you too, man.
Hold on. Let me pick up the calls first, man.
Yeah.
Let me, because I got people in order, and I want to make sure I fulfill that. So I called him back.
We calling all y'all back too.
Yes, sir. So, okay, my man right here. I hope that's not the same person I just called right now. I really hope not. So,
but like, while you doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and get into there. So Miguel Angel Lopez says that Manny Pacquiao, Saul Alvarez, and Errol Spence are carrying the sport.
Errol Spence, yep. That's
and then, but somebody said that Canelo ducks too much, so you can't give him credit. Sean Johnson says, "Come on, Professor Nim, you're way too smart. You know what Canelo is doing." So, T-Tone Toledo is 419, and then LCD Boxing is 337. So like, let's hit them two back.
Oh, okay, that's my man right here, man. Okay. The problem is I gotta call them back because I got them.
Yeah. So like 419 and 337 is what we're calling back.
Yeah, but let me call my man. You could go ahead and read the comments while we doing this, or just get.
No, it's thoughts. Just yeah. So Miguel Angel Lopez says Eddie Hearn and the Zone need the money since they are in the red. That is true. That's why they're pushing for the
Murat don't make no money though. Murat fight don't make no money for them. So
it depends. Like if they go to Japan and then they open up that market.
Yeah, but
that can be.
It's not gonna. This is my last time calling my man because he ain't picking up.
Which one is that? Which area?
He called me like 100 times, so I want to make sure I call him back. So
you don't know the area code? Like
it's 337.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So definitely hitting them. That's LCD boxing.
Well, he need to pick up because
LCD, we hitting you up, man.
Calling.
We calling. Pick up.
Yeah, I might have to move on if you don't pick up.
So go to you got a 860 number.
Is it area code?
Yeah, area code 86. Yeah.
Yeah, my man ain't picking up, man.
Yeah, don't worry about it. So try to hit us back, bro.
What's the number again? 860.
Yeah, 860.
Oh shit, I'm calling from Toronto or something, ain't he?
No, you talking about T-Tone Toledo. 860.
Okay. How you doing, Akhi? Who this is and where you calling from?
Hey, what's up? It's Sean Johnson from Marcus CT. What's going on, guys?
What's up, fam? What's up, fam? How you doing?
All right, chilling. Happy New Year. God bless,
Yes, sir, man. Go ahead and speak it. Hey, man. Go ahead and speak your piece, bro. Speak your piece.
Come on, bro. Come on. How you still with the Canelo thing? He is not holding up the sport, man. He's just holding up whatever title he got.
He putting the sport down.
He even got it, bro. Dude said, no, Charlo's not that good. He's not that good. But here's the title. I don't want to fight you, though. Here's the title. You're not that good, but I don't want to fight. You can't do that. Like, come on. He got the cheating. He got the roids. I'm not letting that go. I'm not letting the steroids go. Once a cheater, always a cheater.
You shouldn't. I mean, just like
let that go.
Yeah, you shouldn't. But at the same time, who would you say is holding up the sport? So if I go into just any office and I'd be like, hey, can you name a boxer right now? Who's your favorite? Like who would
honestly, as much as he's on the hope list, Lomachenko, that's unfortunate. He's one of them, because he's on the hope list. You got to go with Spence. You got to go with Crawford, and you got to go with Wilder. And I mean, as
you gonna leave Canelo out? So he's not even in the top five.
Canelo's
he's not even in the top five.
Canelo's there for ratings and stuff like that. But let's be real. I've been looking at some of the things they were talking about, and it looks like his fights on the zone, the numbers are going down.
Yeah,
and so
his stardom is dying because he's not fighting the best.
He's fighting Street Fighter characters, dude. Like, who's this dude he's about to fight right now?
Man, he better off fighting Akhi.
Listen, I already expressed my disdain for this fight or this farce of a fight that he's going on. But I'm trying to be objective, and I know that Canelo name still rings bells or whatnot.
Of course. It's gonna. We know why, but that's neither here nor there. But I'm not gonna sit here and try to deny. Like, listen, I'm not gonna take nothing away from the brother. He's a really talented fighter. He's really good. He's got power. He's got all of the tools to make it happen. But you can't be this high up in the game and then be picking. Like, at this point, all his fights should be great fights. No tune-up fights.
Exactly.
You've done all the tune-up.
Yo, my man Sean. Yeah. When is he gonna have that pretty boy stage? Like, it's supposed to be now. It's now or never. Like, and he never had it. Like, he got guaranteed purses. Win or lose, you still gonna get paid $33 million, and he ain't fighting nobody. He rather fight a Rocky Fielding.
All right. So So I want to say that Terrence Crawford fought Mean Machine last. Okay.
Yeah, but that Mean Machine guy, he seems like he's a good. He doesn't look like a bad
he ain't Murat.
That's not elite.
He never lost.
Okay, so
Murat no. Hold on. Let's put things to perspective. Murat lost twice already. He was undefeated and Olympian. He was undefeated and Olympian. Mean Machine was undefeated and Olympian.
But the reason they picked him because he looked terrible against Robinson.
Nah, man, Crawford ain't picking.
He didn't look as good. I agree with you on that. That probably was. But I feel like Terrence did that. I kind of feel like he kind of took that. He kind of just kind of staged that.
You gotta stay busy because you ain't got nobody to fight. Crawford really got nobody to fight.
I feel like he wanted to make that the image of a knockdown because he didn't really look hurt to me.
Yeah, but regardless of that,
I don't know. I might be wrong. I defer to you guys. Yeah, you know what I mean? But he didn't really look hurt to me.
Yeah. But so my computer about to die, Sean. So we gonna talk next show. We definitely gonna pick back up on this topic. So call back. Definitely. So I want to get the last call in too. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Let's get one more call in.
My man keep calling in while I have people on the phone.
But he said he was calling at the same time. So
tell him to call right now. He got to call right now as we speak because my computer about to die.
LCD, we calling.
Yeah, my man, he ain't okay.
So that's the 337, right?
LCD, yeah. What's up, fam? How you doing?
Hey, what's good, man?
Finally, you in, Akhi. What's up, man? Finally,
we got you, right?
Yeah, I'm glad to be up in here too.
Yeah, go ahead because we short on time and the computer about to down.
Yeah, we got about 60 seconds, but go ahead and speak your piece, man. I appreciate you coming in with facts, your knowledge, but go ahead and speak your piece, bro.
Yes, sir.
Well, y'all got me when y'all was talking about the lineal championship. Now, remember the lineal championship, from down the line started with the NBA belt and then later changed on to the WBC belt.
Yeah.
Tyson Fury beat Vladimir Klitschko when he was the ring champion. His brother actually had the belt, which was the WBC, which followed the lineal championship, not Vladimir. But when Vitaly retired, Ring and some media people that work for Ring started calling him the lineal championship. They just got confused with lineal and ring. There is no lineal championship. It's just the ring.
So it's the ring. So there's no such thing as lineal.
No, there is a such thing as a lineal championship.
There is a such thing as lineal, but it ended when
Lennox Lewis retired.
When Lennox Lewis retired.
Exactly. So it's not the same. He the ring champion. Like he ain't the lineal. You know what I'm saying? You gotta kind of. It's kind of like
it has
heritage.
To, yeah, but it's like it has to pick up at some point.
People at Ring started calling him. It was one of the writers. I can't remember who it was, but they started calling him the lineal champ. But what they actually meant was he was the ring champion. The media just went with it.
Yeah.
If you follow it. If you follow the LDBC, they break it all the way down and kill the noise.
So who you picking? Who you picking to win the fight?
Out of Fury and Wilder?
Yeah.
I got Wilder, man, because people always talk about how this guy can't box and he's sloppy and this and that, but Wilder got real skills, right?
Hold on. Slow down. So give me, tell me about these real skills, because I don't necessarily see it.
I'll break it down for you.
Okay.
Now I've been my uncle was a boxer, right? So I grew up and he was teaching me everything. Everybody don't have the best fundamental skills, but what Wilder does have, he got over 40 fights and over 41 knockouts, so he got experience, right?
No, I mean, okay, that's experience, but experience is not necessarily skills.
He got the art of knocking somebody out. Like he knows how to knock somebody out.
Okay.
Yeah, try to do it as fast as possible, like in a minute, because I'm talking about my computer about to die and I can't do nothing about it.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, so the skills that Wilder possesses, he got a day to deliver that power on point when he's trying to get it. And that's what he do. He set people up, he get them moving to the right by throwing left hooks, and then when they slow up, he jump on them. So he didn't beat every boxer that's better than him. He didn't beat them all.
Yeah,
you gotta have skills to be able to set that punch up, bro. Especially if the other fighter know all you got is the right hand. So he sets them up, and they walk right into it.
Yes, sir.
He might not be flashy, he might not be fundamentally sound, but he is experienced enough and has enough skills to move around and set that punch up and deliver it. And when he delivers, it's a knockout. You can't knock that, man.
Now I'm not knocking his knockout power. If power is a skill, I'll give him that. In there. So to me, particularly against Ortiz and against some other fighters, what I've seen is when they've easily outboxed him for long parts of the fight, and then when they start to open up, that gives him an opening, so he kind of reacts. But what I think about is certain things like footwork and having a sophisticated jab and You know, just kind of like subtle.
I see what you're saying, but skill, timing come into play like Wilder has. You know what I'm saying? That's skill, timing, putting your opponent in a perfect position to land the knockout punch, which he knows how to paint a perfect picture. It takes time. Sometimes he's sloppy with it, but he get the job done.
I saw him throw one of the ugliest right hands. It was almost like a slap.
It's an eraser. He got a cheat code to the game, which is his right hand.
Underrated.
What? Say it again, boss.
I say his boxing IQ is underrated. You know what I'm saying?
That too. That's something you don't see. And it just happened, and that's why
I'm
you can see it with his result. That's what I'm saying. Like boxing IQ is something you don't see because it's just he doing things that you don't see outside looking in,
bro, like,
and he make things happen.
I've been around the sport. Like I understand like subtleties. I just don't.
So you pick a theory.
I'm not gonna get my pick yet.
Our prediction coming soon. So you call back Akhi. I just gotta let you go.
I appreciate the love.
We short on time, fam.
Like I say, man, it's all love with these debates. Like you bringing in knowledge.
I'm stay checking y'all out. Check out my channel, LCD Boxing, man. I'll be dropping videos every now and then. I'm trying to build it up, but
for
I like
sure.
what you guys are doing, man.
Appreciate it,
man.
Thank you, Akhi.
We'll definitely support you, man.
Yeah, appreciate it, Akhi. So to wrap it up, appreciate y'all for tuning in. We had technical difficulties this episode. Obviously, we were supposed to be live yesterday, but YouTube part, they had a couple issues. I don't know what happened, but regardless of that, we are here today and we made it happen. Of course, subscribe below if you're trying to get smart about a minute. If you're trying to get dumb about a second, don't listen to these casual fans. Obviously, on Split Decision, we offer the book of the truth. So if you do open the book, that's what you get is actually, Split Decision, where we speak about the truth and nothing but the truth. So click on the notification bell to get notified every time we post or go live. Of course, to the left in the blue corner, no other than Professor Nim. To the right on the red corner is Akhi. Professor Nim, let us out.
Only thing I want to say is, if you real men out there, real men and women, is put your guns down, put your gloves up.
And
Let's get it, bro. And we out.
Akhi. So keep in mind that, like I said, all the Canelo fans, I want y'all to call in, man. We didn't get y'all to call in today. What's up? We want all the smoke, but we want all the love as well. Appreciate all my Akhis. I don't say this enough. I appreciate every single one of y'all. I truly mean it. And may Kobe Bryant rest in peace. Gigi, his daughter. I feel sorry for his family. My condolences goes out to them. And peace, and we out.
We out.